6:45 a.m. This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. The news, edited by J. Yogaraj and read by Mario Vijayavardhana. The headlines. State Minister Ranjit Siambalapitiya emphasizes that the opposition should explain how the IMF MOU agreement will be changed. It is stated that President Ranil Wickremesinghe should be named as a common candidate of the general public. The main opposition alleges that the JVP is trying to create problems among the general public and gain power. The government says the election will not be postponed under any circumstance. The NPP leader says the people will fail if they appoint the previous rulers again. The application deadline extended for the Presidential Scholarship Programme 2024-2025. The Railway Department will launch a new luxury tourist train, the Dunhinda Odyssey, on the 5th of April to ply from Colombo Fort to Badulla on weekdays. In news overseas, Putin declares victory in Russia presidential election. In sports news, Sri Lanka and Bangladesh face off in a crucial ODI decider today. The acceptance of applications for the Presidential Scholarship Programme 2024-2025 has been extended and a new deadline is set for the 1st of April, the President's Media Division says. This programme, initiated by the President's Fund under the advice of President Ranil Wickremesinghe and guided by the President's Secretary Mr. Samane Kanayaka, aims to benefit students who are studying despite facing various economic difficulties, the statement said. The extension of the acceptance period for applications for the Presidential Scholarship Programme 2024-2025 has been implemented in response to numerous requests. The zonal education directors have been informed about the programme and they have informed the programme to the principals, the divisional secretaries and the Grama Niladhari officers. The President's Fund has encouraged parents to inquire about the programme and submit applications to the school principal accordingly. Additionally, as per the directives issued by the Secretary to the Ministry of Education, the allocation of scholarships to each school based on the number of students will be determined by the Regional Director of Education. These scholarships will then be distributed to the respective school principals within their regions. In line with this, all school principals are required to form a selection committee and starting from the 1st of April 2024, choose the scholarship recipients based on the allocated scholarships for their school. State Minister Ranjit Siambalapitiya emphasizes that the opposition should explain how the IMF MOU agreement will be changed. The opposition was backing out and refused to take over the country when the country was in dire straits. But now these opposition parties are trying to capture power through various means. The State Minister said that any party would like to rule the country when there is no economic crisis. But the question reminds us that who undertook the reins of the country, the nation was in trouble. The State Minister made these remarks at a media conference held in Colombo yesterday. The Irrigation Department has issued a public advisory urging citizens to conserve water and exercise caution in usage. Speaking to the media, the Director General of Irrigation A. Gunasekara said that this call comes in the light of the dwindling water levels observed in rivers, which serve as crucial sources of pipe-borne drinking water across the region. Meanwhile, the Met Department says that the heat index will continue to increase these days in 10 districts. The Colombo heat index was fluctuating between 32 to 37 centigrade these days, it added. This news broadcast comes to you from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. The main opposition alleges that the JVP is trying to create problems among the general public and gain power. SJB parliamentarian Ajit Mana Perma made these remarks at a media conference held at the opposition head office in Colombo. He further said from the history, JVP or so-called NPP has done this in the past in 1970 and 1988-89 to disturb the country and put the whole country in trouble. As a result, many lives have been lost, more damage to state properties and moreover the general public has been inconvenienced many ways. The JVP cannot win the hearts of the people by creating problems for the same public, the parliamentarian added. The NPP leader Anurakumara Dissanayake says the people will fail if they appoint the previous rulers again. The JVP parliamentarian made these remarks at a rally yesterday. So everyone should try to appoint a new leader for the country, he added. The election will not be postponed under any circumstances. The government says the people will be given the opportunity to exercise their franchise and their election rights this time. This will not be postponed. The National Child Protection Authority points out there is an increase in child abuse cases, and this includes child sexual abuse, child assault, child injuries and child accidents last year. There were around 2,200 complaints received in this regard. Further, there were about 3,000 child abuse cases reported. These number of complaints have risen when compared to 2022 figures. The Railway Department will launch a new luxury tourist train, the Dunhinda Odyssey, on the 5th of April to ply from Colombo Fort to Badulla on weekdays. This will mark 100 years of train services to Badulla, which was introduced by the British. The launch will coincide with the centennial celebrations at the Badulla railway station, and a special postage stamp will also be issued. The Dunhinda Odyssey will depart from the Fort railway station at 6:30 a.m. and from Badulla at 8 a.m. on weekdays from the 5th of April. The train will have first and second class compartments. With the new addition, it is hoped that the Alla Odyssey will meet its current high passenger demand. First class tickets of the Dunhinda Odyssey will cost 8,000 rupees, the same as the Alla Odyssey.
The main news story is brought to you by Sinhala Mahatmya.
The Anuradhapura District Agriculture Committee has decided to cultivate paddy over 108,000 hectares in the Anuradhapura district during this year's Yalla season. The Anuradhapura Additional District Secretary Sandhya Besekara says that seasonal meetings have been held at Mahakandarava, Huruluveva, Rajangane, Tisaveva and Nuvaraveva, the major irrigation schemes of the 13 major tanks. All major tanks hold satisfactory water levels despite the prevailing adverse hot weather. She said there would be a record paddy yield in this year's Yalla season since main chemical fertilizer varieties and irrigation water facilities are sufficiently available in the district.
The main news story was brought to you by Sinhala Mahatmya.
Watch Live is brought to you by
CIB Navy offer valuable gifts and gift vouchers, 25% discount for bank cards till 10th of April. Visit CIB today. CIB revives once always.
Steps have been taken to launch a new mobile application, Beach Cleanup Coordination APP, aimed at enhancing the cleanliness and waste management on beaches, the senior advisor to the President on National Security and the Chief of Presidential Staff Sagar Ratnayaka says. This was revealed during a discussion at the Presidential Secretariat. The introduction of this mobile application is facilitated through the intervention of the Coastal Conservation Protection Authority, the President's Media Division said.
CIB Navy offer valuable gifts and gift vouchers, 25% discount for bank cards till 10th of April. Visit CIB today. CIB revives once always.
Coming up, World News.
In world news headlines now, Japan Defense Ministry North Korea launched at least 2 missiles. Putin declares victory in Russia presidential election. Navalny's widow and other Russians in Berlin cast votes of protest against Putin. Japan's defense ministry says North Korea launched what are believed to be at least 2 ballistic missiles on Monday morning. The first announcement came at 7:46 a.m., followed by a second just over 30 minutes later. A source in Japan's defense ministry says both projectiles fell outside of Japan's exclusive economic zone. Incumbent Russian leader Vladimir Putin has declared himself the victor in the country's presidential election. Putin spoke to supporters at his election headquarters after early results showed he was certain to win. He said he wanted to thank all the Russians who came out to vote, claiming the country is one united family. The widow of the late Russian opposition leader Alexei Navalny and many of her compatriots cast protest votes against President Vladimir Putin at the Russian embassy in Germany's capital yesterday. Yulia Navalnaya, waiting in a long line to vote in the Russian presidential election at her country's embassy in Berlin, and Sunday was the last day of voting. Russian people at the diplomatic mission chanted to express their solidarity with Navalnaya. They also demanded that the Kremlin immediately stop the military operation in Ukraine. And now the main points of the world news segment once again. Japan Defense Ministry, North Korea launched at least 2 missiles. Putin declares victory in Russia presidential election. Navalny's widow, other Russians in Berlin, cast votes of protest against Putin.
Development news.
Cargill's Convenient Foods Limited, a fully owned subsidiary of Cargill Ceylon plc, announced the opening of its new state-of-the-art processing facility recently. This significant investment, totaling approximately 550 million rupees, underscores the company's commitment to both local economic growth and global market expansion. Specializing in renowned brands such as Goldie, Sam's and Cargill's Finest, Cargill's Convenient Foods has become synonymous with quality and innovation in the local food industry.
Moving on with sports news.
The Sri Lankan cricket team says it is confident that they can clinch the ODI series today. The third and final ODI between Sri Lanka and Bangladesh will be played today at Chittagong grounds as a day match. After getting 3 wickets win with 17 balls to spare in the second ODI, Sri Lanka is very confident of overcoming Bangladesh in today's game, which will start at 9 a.m. and the dew factor will not affect both teams, and it's going to be a good battle. However, the batsmen of both teams have a responsibility to make challenging total today, while Sri Lanka is worried about their key paceman Dilshan Madhushankar, who suffered a hamstring injury during the second game, will miss today's game, and that is a big loss for Sri Lanka team. However, champion leg spinner Wanindu Hasaranga, who took 4 wickets, will pose a big threat for Bangladesh. Hasaranga, who is on top form, while Dunit Wellalage, who replaced Mahish Theekshana, could not get a wicket, but he bowled good spell, and his fighting knock of the last game is a plus point for Sri Lanka side.
Go ekak thiyana youth eකට life එකේ change එකට නියමෙට set වෙන්න ඇස් වහගෙන දැකපු වීර හැබැයි කරන්න youth එකට නියමෙට set වෙන friendship එක මෙන්න.
The all new NSB Ithru Mithru account, NSB IM, a plan for your dream.
Business news sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
Somerset General Insurance Company marked a unique milestone in their history by achieving a record growth rate of 53% in 2023 and becoming one of the highest growing insurance companies in the country. Considering the insurance category, Somerset General Insurance has achieved 90% growth in the fire and engineering insurance sector, a 315% growth in the medical insurance sector, a 42% growth in the non-motor insurance sector, and a 56% growth in the motor insurance sector in 2023 compared to the year 2022.
Business news sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
Go ekak thiyana youth එකට life එකේ change එකට නියමෙට set වෙන්න ඇස් වහගෙන දැකපු වීර හැබැයි කරන්න youth එකට නියමෙට set වෙන friendship එක මෙන්න.
The all new NSB Ithru Mithru account, NSB IM, a plan for your dream.
And now in economic news, the first LNG battery hybrid-powered Ro-Ro vessel berthed at the Hambantota International Port for the discharge of construction machinery and equipment, high-end heavy vehicles including airport buses, mobile cranes, etc. The transshipment cargo is destined for Daman and the Maldives. The Jasmine Leader of NYK line, which arrived at HIP in the first week of March, is one of a fleet of environmentally friendly, next-generation vessels with reduced emissions and lower risk of oil spills.